Good morning. So excited to be here this morning. We're talking a little bit about backsliding. I've been watching this really great show on Apple TV. It's called Physical. It's about this lady when they're in doing aerobics in the 80s, and she has an eating disorder, and she messed up and did her thing, and she backslid, right? And a lot of times that can feel like a failure, when you do something that was um, not awesome, not your highest and best. So when I look at Bella, a lot of times I think about the Bellas that backslide or do something that's better. But interestingly enough, one of the number one things I learned in horses was the better a horse can go backwards and sideways, the better they can do everything else. And it took me a long time to really process and understand what that meant. I'm like, backwards? Why would going backwards be so important? Well, for me, I recognize that it's great to be going fast because she can definitely go fast, believe it or not, even though she's really sleepy looking, right? But she can really move forward fast, and so can like Maverick and racehorses. But chaos unguided is fear. Energy unguided can show up as fear. And so when you're just going forward, all gas and no backup brakes or steering, you're going to have a hard time knowing when to change directions, when to turn, how to adapt, how to make better decisions. So sometimes when you backslide or have to take a step backwards, it's actually allowing you to take a step away from your problems and take a bigger look at them. I've actually been in meditation this morning since about 3 o'clock. So I got up this morning at 3 and I've been meditating for, gosh, almost 4 hours. And that really helps me get still and clear. Now, I'm not recommending that you meditate for 4 hours or that I do this every day. But what I am saying is that in order for her to be calm and make good, strong decisions, she needs to know when to turn and when to go forward. So if she doesn't have, see how she thought about going forward right there? What if there'd been a hole there? She wasn't tuned in to her leader. She wasn't tuned into what was actually best. She made an assumption and decided to go forward, right? And that can get us in trouble a lot of times, especially if you're in sales. So I wanted her to go and make better decisions on how she turns and move around if you can a little to get around so they could see. And like, see how she has no problem going forward, but let's see what it takes to get her to stop. And then how she turns and looks. That's a fear response. If she can't just stop and back up straight, then she's not thinking about stopping up and backing. She's thinking about something else that she needs to rely on to keep her safe. Because when we backslide or we need to take a step backwards or we suffer a failure, it's not because we are doing like making really great choices with everything. We've done something that has misguided us. So we need that idea to learn, right? So I'm going to click with her a little bit more. If you're in a place in your life where you feel like every step forward that you take is just you putting more energy and more energy. I had someone write me this morning saying that they were working 13, 14-hour days, and that's fine as long as you're not just in chaos, right? So I want her to be able to move with her head down, nice and relaxed. See how she did that? I'm not going to allow her to do that. I'm not going to allow her. You are in no position to go forward if you can't keep your act together. So I'm not going to allow her. She needed to take a step back because she got scared, got worried. And I want to help her take a step backwards that allows her to meditate and get still. So I'm going to play with that just a little bit. And I'm going to do it in a way that helps her understand what the healthy movement is. Because see how she's now fighting me? I need to help her. And this is a lot of times when the universe will come a little closer if you can. The universe will get in your way and say, that's not what you want. And it'll cause you a little bit of discomfort. So I don't want her to go into fear or discomfort. I want her to listen to what I'm saying because she's still not. She's still tuning into something different. And we even worked on this yesterday a little bit. Now, she has a history, so it would make sense, but I don't want her to feel like going backwards is something that is not doing her any good, because all she's done her whole life is go forward. And this may seem really harsh, and feel free to throw me some hate comments if you don't like what you're seeing, but I know what I am seeing, what I'm experiencing here. And what I'm experiencing is a horse that's like, the sky is falling, I must run forward. And we were talking about horses knowing the way home. Horses will also run back into a burning barn because they recognize that the barn is home and they don't have any other frame of reference other than that means safety to them. My mom is in a relationship with my dad and he is terrible to her and she stays. Anybody here stay in a toxic relationship just a scooch too long? If you're not raising your hand, you're lying to yourself or me, and I don't care if you lie to me. I just don't want you to lie to yourself. I want you to know that you can have this level of compassion and faith in you. So she's still not convinced that this is a good thing for her. She's still she's trying a little bit more. There we go. That's better. She's trying a little bit more, but she's still not convinced. And there, that was the first time she made a step on her own that I didn't have to influence. And thank God she has a good system of support. Can you imagine what she would be doing left to her own devices? Right? Now you're like, well, if she's out in the field without you there, then she's probably fine. Maybe, but if you only ever want to stand out in a field and to be outstanding, then what you really want to consider is what your goals are. And maybe there's something more for you than what you're actually offering in your life. Anybody here want more in their life than what they currently have? Anybody tired of whatever the circle is that they're doing? Yeah, circles are consistent and can make you feel safe, but they're not going to get you very far. So I want her to be able to know that that was better. Who saw her be calmer that time? Now she's still skeptical in her brain as to whether or not this is worth doing. But I got better and she went straighter and she's now starting to think. And that's the other piece. If you know how to take the step back, allow yourself that grace, give yourself some respite if you need it. Come spend a weekend, a day, or a month here, because this is a great place to just, I have tons of room. You can come and just stay and be in a place that will allow you to take that step back from being the fish in the fishbowl, wondering why you're drowning. So this girl now has taught me so much about the fact that in order to go forward, I must be able to go back. So now let's see if she can go on her little circle. She's had a hard time with circles for a long time in the past, until recently, because everybody just allowed her to be in her own little fishbowl, never took her anywhere that was important, and or allowed her to go on a circle in a healthy way. They just let her go around chaotically. Now that's not what I want. I want this to be, that's better. I want this to be an opportunity for her to relax into the process. And now I have a better circle. She's not dragging the rope. And if she does that little head toss thing, I'm going to interrupt that pattern and say, well, obviously circles are terrifying for you, which would make sense. Now, she went for a fly that time, just to be clear. So I'm just noticing that. And understanding how to read your horse in a way that you understand what it is they're asking, thinking, and feeling. Wouldn't it be nice if you could read yourself and know what you were asking, thinking, and feeling? Because a lot of times it's not even your stuff. This fear of a circle is not hers. It's something that was put upon her by the people, not in a mean or vicious way, but just in an unknowing way, made her afraid of them. They kept changing what circles look like to her. And so when someone said, let's do a circle, she was like, well, I have no idea what a circle is. And anytime I do a circle, it's not wrong. And I get sweaty and frustrated. I hate circles. Right. And so we can say, I hate my life. I hate this. I don't like this. I wish things were different. I wish I didn't have this rat on a wheel job or whatever it is, wherever the pain point is in your life. Now look how nicely she's going, but I'm watching every single aspect of this to see if she gets worried or fast. And in my mind, I'm saying, you got this, girl. You're doing great. Keep it up. Because right over my right shoulder, right about there, is where she did that little head toss thing. So I'm not going to put energy towards it, but I am going to ask her to keep going. But that's okay. Maybe acknowledge her for a second. Maybe she's telling me, and I could listen to her a little bit and say, okay, I get it, girl. Circles can be really scary. I understand. Trying something new and going forward with it can be scary. And maybe we need to take that step backwards for a moment. That was the best one she's done so far. And now that tells me she's nice and straight. That tells me that she's learning. That tells me that she's got it. That tells me that she can be okay just being still for a minute, even if everything around her is going insane. So here we go. Let's see if we can just stop. Wow. Now, can we just be back up a step or two? Wow. Now, backing up a step or two is really important for us too. And that doesn't mean necessarily going and, going off and drinking margaritas all day or going and getting a massage or whatever. But what it does mean is that you need to give yourself those little opportunities and to look at the bigger picture so you don't end up in the fishbowl. You don't end up in a space. Now, I want her to go to the right. That's my goal. But I want her to be tuned in, and there we go. Much nicer. So now I'm just going to allow her to pick up a nice soft trot. Right now, she's walking. Now, see how she's thinking about it instead of just assuming? The trotting is easy for her. The going forward is easy for her. And then she passed a little gas there. Look at this nice little jog on this girl. Look at Bella go. Good girl, right? And I want her to be able to go like this with her mind calm, her emotions collected, the stillness of her spirit so she can move forward in a healthy way. And sometimes that means take a few steps backwards, which is what we had to do. She started out okay, and then she did that little head toss thing. Now she's wondering, is this good enough? Am I doing it right? And so I can reassure her now that she's getting more confident about being out here. And yeah, we're going in a circle. That's because I don't want to run Mackenzie all over the property. But I could take her all over now and just allow her to move on her own in a healthy way that says you're doing the right thing. Now, I don't want her to step behind the stopping. I want her to ask questions, not make assumptions. That's it. And so I might just take her for a little walk. I'm not going to go very far. I might just take her for a little. So there's a little bit of variety there, but not so much that it freaks her out. There's a nice look at you. But I'm going to watch her body language as she starts to move and make sure that she doesn't need a step back. Because those steps back, if you do not take them when you need them, you will do things like backslide in an unhealthy way. You'll eat the donut instead of the apple. You'll drink the soda or the beer or the margaritas or the 10 margaritas instead of having a green drink and going to the gym. You will make poor choices if you do not give yourself an opportunity to step back, take a look at what you have going on, and then give yourself the opportunity to continue to move forward. Now, look how much more calm she is. Now, she's still moving pretty quick, but she is a little bit of a quick horse. But I still want her to be calm and relaxed. And I'll know that when she's dragging the rope, her head starts to drop, and she might even blow out. I don't know. Her lip is starting to get looser. Her ear's on me. I'm nice and relaxed in the center. I let the rope come to me. I don't want her to stop over here where she's been stopping. So I just had a little conversation with her about that. But it's interesting if you have a conversation with a Bella and she's your friend or your colleague or your employee, your subordinate, because they're very careful about giving them criticism. Sometimes they don't take criticism very well because they're always already wondering whether or not they're doing it right. So I'm very gentle with how I, in this stage of her development, support her, which is all I do right now is support her. If she needs to come in, I will support her on making a better choice right there, like right there, like right there. I'll just support her. I won't get after her and say, "What are you doing? You should be circling. Why aren't you doing your job?" I'll just support her so she can understand that the movement forward is the right answer, because you do not want to put yourself in a position. Who here has made wrong choices, made choices that the next day you're like, "Oh, I'm never doing that again." And yet you do it again. This is the stem of addiction, you guys. This is the stem. When you do not give yourself what you need when you need it, if you wait for the universe to tell you, it will show up in an unhealthy way. And that's why I offer these weekend retreats and offer these 2-day events where you can come and just give yourself that little step back so you can go back and be calm and not have the chaos in your life. We all want to be able to just move and flow through our days with elegance and ease. Look how beautiful she is, right? And I can just move with her and support her on the circle once in a while to just remind her she's doing things right and let her know that I've got her back. And she could go forever and ever and ever, but if it's chaos, all you're going to get is blood, sweat, and tears, right? We don't want blood, sweat, and tears. We want rocket fuel to that jello rocket ship to the sun, right? See how she keeps asking questions? And I'll be like, "Yeah, that's it, girl. You got it. You're doing great. Keep it up." The circles are hard for her. And I'm going to wait for her to get to the jackpot because I know she's on the verge of a breakthrough. Anybody here ever been on the verge of a breakthrough? And then we go, never mind, and we stop 3 feet from gold. That's where she's at right now. She's 3 feet from gold through a very major breakthrough with what a circle means to her. Now, this goes for anything she was doing, starting a business, getting a new relationship. Where is that 3 feet from gold piece that you need to take 3.5 feet back for a half a second so you know that you're on the right path? Everybody have that GPS, right? And if it was just the little arrow and you got like this much blue road to see, sometimes you need to scroll out, zoom out, so you can make sure, like, oh, yeah, this is where I'm going, right? This is where I'm going. And yes, you're on the right track, Bella. You're on the right track. But you have to take that step back so you know that you are. So you can say, taking a step backwards or having a failure is not the end. It's just a redirect. And making sure you are not shaming yourself, guilting yourself, or feeling bad about it. Because the moment you can realize that this step backwards is actually an opportunity to take much more strides forward with confidence and compassion. And you can connect with yourself at a much deeper level when you're compassionate with yourself. Otherwise, your inner child will run away in fear, just like Bella. Because Bella is a lot like an inner child. You need to treat her as such, and she is your inner child. So you know that you support her and don't judge her and just allow her. Now, this horse she's Arabian, so she can go. We tested it one time, 12, it's a 12-foot circle, so it's 24-foot diameter, about maybe 20 feet. So it's kind of a small circle. We did it to figure it out like 50 laps with like 3/4 of a mile or something ridiculous. So everybody's like, "Oh my God, you trotted her 50 laps." Well, she went less than a mile, guys. And even my mom can walk a mile. And she's got 2 knee replacements. So this is where my little she's fine disclaimer comes in. She keeps kind of asking. I'm like, "You got this. I'm going to wait for the breakthrough. You are 3 feet from gold. We're almost done. If I stop now, guess what? I'm going to have to start all the way back over tomorrow." So this is where we push through. Sometimes you got to push through. You have to break down to break through. And this is where she's about ready to have a pretty big breakthrough. We've been working on it for years, right? And when you get here, you can say, "I didn't work this hard to just work this hard. I didn't just trot circles to trot circles. This is not lunging. This is not endless effort on her part just to burn that hay belly off of her. This is way there. That's it. I'll support her a couple more laps. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. You got this. We're there, guys. We're there. Come on. You're almost there. Come on. That's it. Who saw her just get calmer? Who saw her just get more confident? All it took was a few steps backwards in the beginning and a pattern interrupt to remind her that circles are okay. This isn't the end of the world. This isn't something we have to trudge through. This is actually something we can do in a healthy way and help her be more confident and compassionate to herself. I feel like horses are compassionate or discompassionate to themselves, just like us. You know, it may sound make me sound crazy. Maybe I am a little crazy. It's okay too. I do love these animals and I do love the people that they help. And I do know that supporting her through this moment is going to allow her to serve people that come here at a deeper level. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. We're almost there. See how she's thinking about it? So now the game is, let's see how good she's got this. Can she get by without me having to support her right over here off my right shoulders where she needs that little bit of support still? And I don't want to think of it as a correction. This isn't a correction. This is support. I'm not going to be upset if as long as she's moving. There she's passing gas. Her head is nice down and nice and relaxed. For a horse that used to get out to the end of this rope and fly around like a kite, this is a huge improvement. And there's that little support she needs. I'll take this and ask for the trot. I can always ask for the trot from her. I can always ask for more. I would rather have it be confident and clear and a little bit slower. And then right here, I can support her to pick up trot back up. And let's see if she's had an opportunity to think about all of this. And if she can get by this little spot without me having to support her, I will know that she's learned. And then I can shift the where she is actually being supported or where she is in her level of development. She will have transcended from frustrated beginner to cautious but capable achiever. You guys see it. What we talked about the other day on the whiteboard, because I can then go from supportive coaching style to supportive to coaching instead of just, now she kept going. She kept going without me having to do it, help her, right? So be careful too. I don't accidentally do it with my hand or with my intention. This has to be her. She has to make her own decision. So that little spot there, it's like I just remind her that she should be trotting. And now we got a lot of go. We got a lot of forward, but it's calm and it's thoughtful. Yeah, she's still making a few choices that are different from what I'm asking, but I'm not making her feel wrong for it. And she doesn't get in her head and get worried about it. So if you are a Bella and you get worried about stuff, stop making yourself feel wrong for every decision that you make, because you're going to make wrong decisions every single day. I make dumb mistakes every single day. We all do. We all make dumb mistakes every single day. That is the human design. It's also the horse design, because they're very much like us. So give yourself that break. There she goes. There. I'll take that. I'll take that. Give yourself that break. Give yourself that respite, even if it's just an afternoon. But if you can give yourself a couple of days to take back your life, take back your decisions, take back what's yours, understand who you are and how to love yourself, be compassionate towards yourself, and believe in yourself, because that's the life changes that we want. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned from this horse. The other horses, I've learned different lessons. Dante's taught me certainty. Maverick's taught me trust and patience. And Trace has taught me play. Well, I already knew play. Maybe I taught him play. But the point is that each one of these guys will teach you something different. And what I keep learning every day, even now, I've had her. How long have you and I been together, girl? Since 2015? 8 years. I've had her for 8 years, and I'm still learning with her. I'm still learning how to be more patient and more kind and more thoughtful and gentler in my approach. How can I be better for her? And when I engage in the relationships I have in my life with people, I ask myself that same question, depending on where they are in my labyrinth. My persona intelligence course, I do a great segment on the relationship labyrinth, where people belong in your life and why. and that guideline approach, because if I want a Bella in my life, I want one like that. I don't want one that's chaotic and out of control and always a hot mess. And you see her on her caller ID and you're like, oh, I ain't got time for that, right? I want people that are like this. And how do I get people like this? I act like I did out there, because it doesn't take very long before she will start looking like this, as opposed to the hot mess she was when I got her. Right now, that doesn't mean you take every single Tom, Dick, and Bella on as your project. That just means that you put yourself in a position to know who belongs where in your life and how to show up for them. And I mean, how to show up for yourself. Give yourself those breaks before your body tells you you have to, or you feel like you need to in an unhealthy way. Come and spend a weekend here with me with the horses and learn these concepts and philosophies around what a horse can teach you about focus and motivation and certainty. You with Dante, I don't care what you're asking him to do. You better be really certain you want it, because he's going to ask you, just like the universe does. The universe asks you questions just like a horse. We say compare it to a 4-year-old child. Compare it to the universe, because these guys are a lightning rod to the divine, and what they'll teach you about life and love and leadership is more than I ever could. I'm just the facilitator. I'm just the translator of what these guys have to teach. So this girl here has there was a big sigh, had just had a big breakthrough about what a circle looks like. And she's less fearful today and will be less fearful tomorrow and be the less fearful the day after that, unless we backslide, which it can happen. When you backslide, you eat the chocolate cake instead of going to the gym, then forgive yourself immediately. Get back in your high vibration car and come and visit me. We'll have a good time. But this is Bella. She is with 11 other horses starving in a field. And I rescued her from a horse rescue here in South Florida. And now she's been with me for 8 years. And we're still learning together, because I am her persona. And every time I see her, I see a mirror of myself, someone that is just so loving, but very misunderstood. So have an amazing day, everyone. I'm still pulling out of this incredible 4-hour meditation that I had. And I would love to see anyone that this speaks to come and spend some time with me here and the horses, learning, loving, and growing. Have an awesome day, y'all. Talk soon. Good girl.